Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Piper Academy Network. I am your host, Army Piper, and I am in slow motion. I think we're catching up. I think we're good there. There we go. Welcome to the Morning Market Report, everybody. This is the Piper Academy Network, and we got some red going on this morning here on the daily, on the hourly, starting to get a little bit of a turnaround. Looking at the market opening here, we are sitting in a lot of red on the Dow Jones, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2K. The VIX right over there, that green box over there, that is coming up on that 20-point mark. That is where we get a lot of volatility in the market, guys. Why? It has to do with a whole lot of stuff going on in the Middle East. You may have heard about it. Iran, Israel thing going on over there. Don't want to get YouTube banned talking too much about it, but we're going to today. So they about to find out. We're going to talk about all that and see how Bitcoin is working. We good now, though? We're good now. Do the Neuralink or something. No. We're going to see how Bitcoin's reacting to this price action. We're going to break all that down. We're going to talk about Cathie Woods. She sold some of her Circle stock. We're also going to talk about some defensive stock plays. We talked about this yesterday in our Discord, and we were talking about, hey, back about October 2023, these were the defensive plays at the beginning of the Ukraine-Russia situation. How are we looking now? It looks like a lot of people starting to move back into defensive stocks. Plus, we're going to talk about gas and a lot more. Guys, you guys know what time it is. It's time for everybody to take your seats. Take your seats. You know what time it is. Class in session. Let's get it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. Let's go ahead and jump in on the news. OC is still getting his coffee ready over there. Please, for the love of God, don't let it have OJ in it. But good morning, everyone. Let's see who's all's in the chat real fast. I want to see here. We got Bakoshi Nodanera. He was sliding in first. He said, I got to show up so that I'm number one. It's the only time I get number one on Piper's channel. We got Alexandra G in the house with us saying, good morning. Good morning to you, Mod Queen. How you doing? Donato Cabrera in here with us. Ninja Glock, Jesse Gellick, username. He said, I'm about to be living in the attic at Piper's. So, yeah, we talked about the house yesterday also on the live Discord VIP session. We actually did a walkthrough on it. So, Harp is in here with us. We got Frank the Tank Degen saying good morning, JR Piper and Alexandra. And then JR's also in here giving us a shout out, and Robert Mulligan. All right, let's go ahead and jump over into the news, guys. Talk about that. And then we'll come back and OC is back. OC, we'll be back with you in a moment, bro. We're going to jump in on this news and try to knock it out real fast. All right, looking at the news here this morning, we got the crypto market cap sitting at $3.282 trillion. Trend median on that, the delta sitting at about $3.935 trillion, undervalued currently at about 16.61. So crypto as a total, still way undervalued. Most of that undervaluation being placed on the shoulders of the altcoins. Looking at the current risk level, we're at 57.9%. That is relevant to the DCA Piper plan. That would be about a 2x on your DCA there. And they're looking at Bitcoin dominance right now with stables. We're at 64.13. Without those stable coins, 69.17. That means alts are taking a dumpsy-do against Bitcoin dominance there. So looking at Bitcoin liquidations in the past 24 hours, 103,211 traders will liquidate. Total liquidations coming in at $355.58 million. Largest single liquidation order happened on Binance. It was Solana this time, not Bitcoin. And it was $3.32 million in the single trade lost, wiped out, gone out of here. No cover fee on Thursdays at the VIP Piper Pit, a.k.a. Piper's Attic. Let's party. Username, you're out of control, bro. Looking at these bubbles here, turning back red on the hourly again. Bitcoin currently sitting at $105,258 after being down 1.7%. And as I was talking about, those altcoins taking a big hit there, guys. You can see Ethereum sitting at 25.52. It is getting down to that range that I just talked about yesterday. That is a good spot to pick up on Ethereum, not financial advice. Remember that. 3.4% to the downside on Ethereum today, bringing it down to that level. Looking at XRP, down about 2%. BNB just down about a measly 0.6%, something at $652. Solana is down 4.5% at just under 150 right now. What other big mover? Oh, wow. Hyperliquid taking a massive punch to the gut, down 11.5% there. And then 7.3 on SWE. Bitcoin Cash down about 1.7%. Chainlink's down 4.2, far off from the $800. Hashtag if you know, you know. Stellar Lumen's down 3%, moving up one spot to number 16 as Avalanche slides down to number 17, down 4.3%. Toncoin, you guys remember yesterday I talked about there was a lot of a lot of talk on the markets with TRX, which is Tron, and I'm thinking that this might actually be some bleed over people not knowing what token is what, because I've seen this before, where people go Toncoin, and they go TRX, and I go, no, that's a different coin. Tron is not Ton. So wondering if that has to do with that news that came out there. People just don't know. Be curious to find that out. Not sure how I'd find that out, but I'm curious about it. Negative 3% there on Shiba Inu, and Litecoin moving back into that top 20, up one spot. Despite being down 3%, it has moved back into the top 20. H bar sliding out of that roll. Let's go talk about the fear and greed index right now. It's sitting at 68. Right now, we're in greed still, guys. Still in greed. And I'm watching this. Longs versus shorts. We haven't looked at this chart in a while, but longs versus shorts right now across Binance, across Bybit. Bybit's got more longs than shorts, but overall, look at the total. The aggregate longs and shorts for Bitcoin, we're sitting at 55.66% short, 44.34% long. I think this could be setting up, guys, for a short squeeze. So he didn't say no. Let's go. Again, username out of control. Genius Act is going to happen today, guys. This is the stablecoin bill. It's getting voted on June 17th. That's today. U.S. Senate will be given the final vote after that, and we'll be moving to the House for the next round. This is one of those reasons that I'm very bullish on Circle stock. CRCL is the ticker. I just like the stock. Hashtag, what's his name? Roaring Kitty. That's it. I just like the stock, guys. Looking at the Kabisi letter here. Also, this is the stuff that we're going to be digging into in a minute. It has to do with all of that Iran data. But looking here at the stock market TradFi side, Dow Jones down about 0.25%, S&P's down a little over 0.25%, NASDAQ down about 0.4% there. Russell 2K, your small caps coming in just at 3.37. And then VIX pushing on that 20%, that 20-point mark. It's at 19.75. You can take a look here and see the Europe markets did not do well last night. Asia markets, everything except for the Nikkei, did not do well. Nifty 50, that's India, Shanghai, they all are in the red, just slightly on some of them. But overall, markets did a lot of sell-off last night. The 10-year Treasury yield bond is having a little sell-off here going on, which means that it's being bought up. Remember, if it's being sold off, that number goes up and it goes green. If it's being bought, it goes down. So some people are finding some opium in the U.S. economy, buying up those Treasury yields at that 4.5% and bringing it down to 4.436. Oil prices are pumping up again, hitting 73. I think $100 could be in play. $100 oil price per gallon if we continue to have the conflict going on in the Middle East. Sitting at 73.5. Gold, we're going to take a look at gold today. It's holding $3,400, down about 0.22%. I think, safe haven. If I start to see this continue to drop, I'm going to get very bullish on stocks in the short term. If this pumps up, then I think Bitcoin has a chance of getting a really good rally also. So looking at the markets here, Dow Jones falls 100 points on escalating Israel and Iran conflict and weak retail sales. What are those retail sales? Well, we were at a negative 0.1. Actually, we were previously at a 0.1, not negative. They did a revision, dropped it down 0.2%, and now it's coming in like this at a negative 0.1. Was expected to be -7, negative 0.7, I should say. Negative 0.4 was the forecast on that. Came in at negative 0.9, meaning much worse than they expected. Very weak retail sales. Import-export prices getting a big deviation there between those. And then also tomorrow, guys, we got all this wall of worry coming in on the FOMC decision tomorrow. I don't think there's any reason to worry. I think most of the markets have cooked in that there is no rate cut coming tomorrow. Don't see one in July either. I think September is the first opportunity that we get for a rate cut. So that's going to be a little bearish onset in the market. But I think tomorrow, after this data comes out, we could get a lot of volatility during Jerome Powell speaking and then get the rally pump that it needs to have. So looking at the Fed watch tool here just to see what they're looking at for this June. Let's go refresh that. Yeah, June, we're looking at a 99.8% chance of no rate cut tomorrow. So there you go. Let's look at these longs on ETF. The log, I should say, on ETF. Bitcoin ETFs log $1.8 billion over 6 days of inflow. So yeah, guys, ETFs still doing quite well, still bringing in a lot of money, a lot of people buying up at these higher levels, a lot of people buying the top. Who knew? But BlackRock's IBIT led Monday's inflow with $266 million, continuing its dominance over other spot Bitcoin ETFs. Fidelity FBTC followed with $83 million worth of inflows. So a lot of people are still buying. Where do I think Bitcoin could be heading if we do get that short squeeze we talked about? Guys, we're still sitting up here about $700 million there, 1.2 billion, 1.21 billion, 1 billion. Guys, there's like $50 billion worth of liquidations between 110 and 113, I should say. So it's about $50 billion up there worth of liquidations just sitting and waiting. So where are we at right now on the chart? I'll show you that real fast. And then we'll hand this over to the DOC to break his stuff down and see what he's seeing on his chart. But right now, guys, look where we came back to. Look where we wicked into. It's my green box that we've been talking about now for about a week, coming in just beneath that 87% there. Nice little zone of support that we keep getting to bounce on, and we're getting it now. Coming in on that zero line, could we see a nice return bounce off of that zero line of the Oscillator Pro? I don't know, but let's go ahead and bring up OC, see what he's doing. OC, how you doing? You were making coffee. Please tell me there's no OJ in your coffee today, OC, and don't be muted. Of course, you're muted.
That was a good one. I was muted. All right. So no OJ today. I mean, that's a sad story, but I did find out a new way to prepare my coffee. There is a shot espresso, a little bit of vanilla, a pumpkin spice, all cold brewed, high pressure, and then just pour some dried cocoa nibs on top of it. Man, it is just like going to the cafeteria. But that's fantastic. Other than that, great morning. Hopefully you're doing fantastic. Hopefully you're working out those
I'm doing good
with opening boxes,
Yeah, I don't even cut tape anymore. I'm just ripping boxes open.
You're ripping.
Yeah. By the way, did you see today's thumbnail? You saw today's thumbnail?
Oh, we both know I did, and I love that picture.
that was me. That was me back in the day. That was me back in the day, right there. With Bitcoin. Hey, I love it. I think it's great, man. Bitcoin wartime, because we're gonna see how this thing holds up in wartime for sure. Well, not for sure, but hopefully not. But looks like there's a good possibility of it coming. OC. All right, OC. We talked about those levels. 110.7 to like 113.6, $50 billion in liquidation sitting up there. A lot of shorts opened up versus longs in the markets. We know how that typically goes. When the majority goes left, you should probably go right. Or when the majority goes down, you should probably go up, right? Are we going to see that short squeeze happen and a lot of liquidations coming, getting hit, a lot of feelings being hurt? What do you think, man? Let's kick it over to you. Let's check out your chart, see what you're seeing on Bitcoin, and I'll come back and we'll talk about what some of that war stuff is going on in the Middle East.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what I have here on Bitcoin. And the short answer is yes, I think that we're going to be hitting a short squeeze going over to somewhere around 100K. That's because I have this trend line. I mean, not because I have the trend line, we're going to get there, but absolutely, I think that is a major support that we could be seeing. somewhere around those areas. Nonetheless, let me bring something interesting that I've been seeing in the charts. We've been keeping a track of these trend lines. Let me just get rid of that because those are already broken, right? But I want you guys to notice something. We're coming down in here. We have like a little shoulder, like a head, and then a little kind of like a smaller shoulder. But then we create a bigger, more geometrical correct shoulder, and we are right now on the neckline, right? So right at this point, we do have a doji candle. Hopefully, we close like that. If we close like that, and then we have another involving candle, maybe we have the chance to rally back up. I mean, I would like to see Bitcoin hold this area. But if you ask me, well, we're pointing downwards in here. We're very close to the breakout of that trend line that we just formed, right? Our prime square is very bearish, and our consolidation score 86 is barely hanging there out there, right? So this is the interesting part. Let's go back into a couple of sessions and remember what I was explaining this part. Oh, let me get to it. There it is. So explaining this part in here, right? Remember that we were looking to a shoulder, a head, and then an itty bitty tiny shoulder. Look at how we had that kind of like a V-shaped recovery. Let me just get that noise out of the way, and then this is the important part right here, where we created the actual structural correct shoulder or geometrically correct shoulder, right? Or more appealing shoulder. So as you can see, we create a shoulder, head, small shoulder, big shoulder. What if I actually zoom in here so you see what am I zooming into, right? We're coming down, we have a shoulder, head with what we got in here, the same V-shaped recovery that we were talking about. Then smaller shoulders, so the smaller shoulder in here, right? So it's repeating, and then the bigger shoulder, which is the biggest shoulder. If you take a look at, we're having like a head and shoulders inception, right? So this shoulder being this one here, right? This head being this one, and then this shoulder, sorry, and then this shoulder being this other shoulder. So it's very interesting how we're forming that pattern right next to the same pattern. So it's just like a fractal, immediate fractal, which tells me that not only that we are on the original neckline in here that we already have fallen, we're breaking through. Remember that we also were talking about a possible megaphone in here, which we were also expecting to have a further move to the downside. And we mentioned yesterday, depending on what happens on the Middle East, what happens on the macroeconomy, riskier assets are going to be moving. Thus, we also need to take a look at gold, but let's take a look at what's going on the conflict on the Middle East. Back with you, Piper.
Awesome. Let's jump in here. Let's talk about this because we've got this setup here that happened yesterday. The news, I'm just going to go back to the timeline here and talk about it. So Cloud9 Market said, breaking, Bitcoin immediately dumps 1.5% after Trump posted this. And what he said was Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. What a shame and a waste of human life. Simply stated in caps, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. That kind of sent the markets into the sell-off that we're seeing today, okay? What are the liquidations if we go to 100K? I'll look at that in a minute, Frank the Tank. We move in here. Trump was in Canada. He was at the G7 summit yesterday. Still supposed to be going on today. He left yesterday, one day early following the dinner, alongside other heads of state, with him returning to Washington, D.C. in order to attend many important matters per Trump, right? Regarding the Middle East. Move up here. There's the oil. We talked about that already. OC is going to talk about oil in a minute. Fox News reported that U.S. President Trump requested that the National Security Council, the NSC, be in his Situation Room when he arrives at the White House from the G7 summit. And then President Trump's team proposes Iran peace talks. This started coming out on the news, right? Hey, maybe this is going to be okay. We started to see some futures, get some rallies back up on this news. Well, the most latest, guys, is that President Trump says he has not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form. Trump calls the dozens of reports suggesting otherwise highly fabricated fake news. I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form. This is just more highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me. They should have taken the deal that was on the table, would have saved a lot of lives. So Evidently, this is continuing to be ongoing, and we're going to have to see how Bitcoin plays out on this. We'll look at that chart in a second and get that 100K liquidation level, see how that's looking, and then talk about some of the support that's down there. But I also want to get into this before we head out of here today, talking about the Genius Act, guys. It's going to be heading to the final Senate vote, and then stablecoin bill will be going from there to the House if it passes today. So let's go take a look at this Bitcoin chart. Let's talk about this. It's still holding on this level right now, but that $100,000 level, it's going to be coming right down into the peaks that we have here of support, wick and a wick there. That's going to be that level to watch. Honestly, 101 liquidation and clean up down there, pick up all of those liquidity sweeps, and then move on from there, possibly. But let's go take a look and see what the liquidation levels are looking like around 100K. It looks like it's only about $1 billion, honestly, man. If I go down and clean that out, it's like 1.5 billion versus like 50 billion. So I'm not seeing a big concern. It could go down there, grab that stuff, and then obviously this is going to be a huge magnet, a pull right back up. Could be an amazing, amazing rally. Plus, considering that a lot of this the stuff that's going on right now has to do with conflict, and we've seen how quickly the markets recover from that mentality. They just don't care for very long. So I do think we're going to return back up and at least clean up some of this liquidity, perhaps getting a liquidity sweep right there above that point. So um, let's check out the daily. Look at the daily on here, just see how the oscillators are looking. It does look like we might be getting a little bit of a saddle here. I talked about the saddle back here. Remember that, where we had that little seat right there in that histogram. It looks like we might be doing that again, but a pull down to about 104 would be the 50-day simple moving average. If we pull all the way down to like 97, we're going to hit that beautiful quantum reactor from chart prime indicators, and that was a massive level of support here for about 2.5 weeks before. Plus, the dynamic reactor this time is going to be coming in to confluence right on top of it. So we'll have to wait and see there. But as of right now, it does look like the Heikinashi is going to give us another spill down to the downside and bring us a little bit more RSI downside movement. But again, we have some support sitting there. Look at the money flow. It's coming down. Volume is coming down. We could get a little bit of a sell-off on this. But guys, we hit that $100,000 range. I think it's a beautiful spot to pick up there. And I also want to talk about why you shouldn't just get out of markets and sell. Good old Kathy Woods. Good old Kathy Woods, OC. She decided to sell $51.7 million worth of Circle shares as the stock hit a new high yesterday. I won't falter. I'll never fault anybody for taking profits. No one's ever gone broke taking profits. But ARK Invest offloaded $51.7 million worth of Circle shares on Monday. Circle stock closed up 13.1% at a record $151.06, nearly 5 times its IPO launch price. It ultimately did hit a level of about $165 before easing, ultimately ending Monday up that 13.1%. ARK's latest move to trim its holdings of Circle follows its purchase of $373.4 million worth of Circle shares during the company's New York Stock Exchange debut earlier this month. Stablecoin issuer had a blockbuster $1.1 billion IPO. The reason I find it interesting, she always seems to sell off just a little bit too early, because if we come over here and we take a look at Circle today, guys, that's the wrong chart. Let me go to 4-hour. There we go. And put this on the hourly. Let's go check out Circle. It's getting a little bit of a pull down today, but it is holding quite well right now at about 155. It's about at the level that she sold out this morning. Initially did push up at $161 before pulling back. I think that if you take a look at the oscillator here, OC, that looks like volume's coming up. That looks like money flow's coming up. I think there's still some more upside run coming here on Circle. Um, Let's go take a look at gold real fast. Actually, take a look at the chat. Shout out to Red Elephant in here with us. Alexandra G, Frank the Tank. Yes, good stuff. Thanks for checking that out. You got it, bro. I appreciate you. Ti Bingo Bango. Drop Bingo Bangos in the chat for Ti Joe. He's in here with us right now. Appreciate you. Robert Mulligan, Wix Wife Fine 89. 2Dub is in the house with us, and she said she was looking for pictures of the dog. We showed the dog yesterday. Gypsy was laying just chilling yesterday in her little sleep mat in the front room. She's among all this chaos of boxes. She's still doing really well, so I appreciate that. Did we all smash the like though? That's a great question, guys. Those likes are lacking today greatly. You guys got to pump those numbers up.
Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All right, OC, what are we looking at on some gold? Let's talk about gold and let's talk about oil, and we'll come back and look at altcoins. And then if we have time, we'll talk about some defense contractor stocks that I think everyone should be aware of out there. Altcoin time. Oh, altcoin time. OC, go.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at, let's get started with oil here. So we see a little bit of a flag forming here. We were retracing. Remember that yesterday we were looking for a possible, for that retracement actually to play it out. We were expecting some flip of the ribbon. This is just a different Brent that we looked into, just so we have, you guys recall, nonetheless, the same movement. As we see more escalation into this conflict, well then of course we see that escalation in oil prices. Why? Because it is speculation on what might be coming. It is happening. Something else that is happening, and I want you to tie a couple of things. It is when we talked about the defense companies, we also got, or I have prepared for you two stocks that look very likely to be moving. For example, this one, LMT and HWM. We'll see how it goes about that. But why am I bringing this up? Because of the oil thing. Why? Because it has this basically represents fuel, right? So what are we mobilizing? Remember what Piper showed you guys yesterday? A lot of aircraft going from one point to another. So that is also demand, right? If we're seeing concrete actions that are involved, but at this point, planes and consumption of fuel, well, then it is evident that we're going to be seeing that oil prices rising. Well, how would that one country change this? It is not that they're consuming that much of fuel, right? But what is happening here is that we're seeing, all right, war needs fuel, and where we have seen aircraft moving from one place to another. Let's speculate on that price action and then buy it right now. So I believe that is what's going on at this point. Let's go to gold. Gold, really fast. Remember what we talked about yesterday? We were expecting a retracement. The retracement is still ongoing, right? But the first area for lookout, and remember that's why we placed a huge arrow in there, and also there was a huge arrow in here. We were expecting to go to the zero line right here, and then also bounce off the support right now. What's going on? Remember what we mentioned yesterday. If we see further escalation, and here's where Piper said, hey, I do have big news for you, man. And that's when we brought up the planes mobilizing, right? If we see further escalation, well, then we could be expecting that price of gold doesn't plumb as hard as we would be expecting all the way down here. That's why we have an alert somewhere around, and just so you know, I did move it accidentally, somewhere around 3,203, all right? But since we're seeing that escalation, that means uncertainty so far. That uncertainty might be bringing us up somewhere either higher, something like that, basically giving us our first area of support with a much better area of resistance right down here. So this is the next step at this point, since we do see escalations in twins. Well, then we're going to be expecting gold to be a little bit more stubborn, going downwards, and more volatile while going upwards. That's what I got so far. Would you like me to go over a couple of altcoins, or would you like to go over the defense companies?
Let's go ahead and jump over. Let's knock out these defense companies and see how they're looking first. Give me 1 second to get that going here. There we go. Yeah, let's talk about these defense companies, guys. Defense contracts. There's an article that I was watching here this morning. You guys know I like to do all of my research and then bring it all to you guys with the so what to it all. Investors are buying defense stocks as Middle East conflicts worsen. We talked about this yesterday in our VIP session in our Discord. Looking at some of these, like Raytheon was a big one to watch because of they make all the air defense artillery systems, the Patriot, PAC-3, and all that stuff. So obviously, big one to watch. Up 27.42%. Northrop Grumman, Halliburton, no dropping down there. Let's go over and check out the list that we have here. Because about October of 2023, I had a big one on these. If you guys see these white lines that I'm going to be showing on here, there we go. White lines here. These are where I made the calls way back when in October of 2023. Yeah. So looking back here, we were way back in here when I bought that. And then, yes, it actually had a huge rally until sometime around the end of 2024, right around the election time. Why? Because defense contract companies tend to do better under Democratic leadership. Don't know why. Maybe because the budget. I don't know. Who knows why? They do something with the budget and approve a lot more money, which means a lot more money to these companies. Once that happened, started to get the big dump off. But now these companies are moving back in. Booz Allen Hamilton is what this stock is, sitting right now under that 120 level, sitting underneath our quantum reactor, dynamic reactor, but it does look like it's starting to get a push up. Another one to watch, Lockheed Martin here, guys. These are my favorite stock picks for defense contractor companies. So looking at this one here, it's also sitting just under the dynamic reactor. I would say that this one is probably undervalued right now, but the big ones to watch are going to be RTX. This is going to be Raytheon, still absolutely moonshotting up there. Buy level on that one was all the way down here at $72. And then what is this one at? This one's still up quite a bit. Yeah, it is. This one is the General Dynamics. They make a lot of aircraft parts, stuff like that. And then NOC, which is Northrop Grumman, still sitting quite a ways above that October level that we talked about. It is coming down to test support. Might be a good time to look at that one. Spirit Aeronautical was my Hail Mary call back then. And you can see this one is way, way up. It was at $16.77, now sitting at $36.63. They do a lot of parts fabrication for hardware and software for drones. And obviously drones, a big, huge piece over there too. So White Line Highway, that's right. Alexander G, I'm just going to leave the white lines alone. But yeah, looking at these stocks to play, guys, pretty good levels on some of these to pick up. Again, hitting support right now on Northrop Grumman. Looking at Raytheon, I would watch for a pullback somewhere around this range at about 136. We go ahead and pull a fixed range volume profile in here. Let's just get this whole section there. You'll see that, bam, 135, value area high. You can see it was previous resistance, now support. That would be an area that I would watch for on that. Of course, we do have a gap right here. Let's get into some chunky candles. We have a gap sitting right here that will probably get gapped down to maybe one part there and then one part there. Of course, I'm talking about your paper trading. This is paper trading. We're just not financial advice. I'm just saying. But if you guys want to get in on these, check out those levels. First one going to be coming in here at about 141, and then again at 135 on Raytheon. It's going to be the big winner out of all of this, I believe. And then, of course, Spirit Aeronauticals, if it comes back down to about $35, might be a good spot to pick that up too. OC, let's go ahead and kick it over to you, see what you're looking at on some altcoins. I just wanted to talk about the defensive stock plays because for every action, there's a reaction, and one of those reactions, sadly, when we have global conflict, comes out in the world of stocks. So, OC, what are you looking at on the altcoin side? Let's kick it over to your chart, and we'll be back talk about some wrap up here.
Absolutely. Just before I jump into the outcomes, I want to double down on a couple of things that I'm going to be doing. Just so you know, I was not buying some stocks of defense. I was late to the party. So this is my strategy. I want you guys to understand how I take a step into how do I trade here, right? Especially on this kind of enterprises. Why? Because they are news driven, right, or action driven. So first of all, is understanding what's going on. We have a conflict, right? The next thing is understanding the competition. It's blowing. RTX it's blowing. LMT is ranging. TDG is blowing. And HWM it is blowing, right? So what or where could I maybe find my area of opportunity? I will be saying maybe between TDG or better yet in LMT. So how they differ between them both, right? So LMT, this one here, Lockheed Martin Corporation, this is directly related with or in military contracts, meaning that might be waiting for actual concrete actions of presidents for this to blow. So just look at the volatility here. So what I'm going to be trying to see, it's trying to grab some lower prices somewhere around here, which where we are right now. So I might be considering getting a little bit of those stocks, right? And what is the basic market psychology at this point? Oh, wait, something that I compared to, it was HWM, which this is aerospace company. Not only this is just escalating because of the amount of drones that Piper explained, and also right now we see planes, right? Remember that need to go overseas. That means they needed parts of the planes just to maintain them and make them pristine to send them all across the ocean. That made it an early mover in this case, right? So we did have that early concrete action. It also goes around civilian aircraft, right? Which means that can still keep going up even if we de-escalate the conflict. So in this case, I'm also going to be looking at this one because it's a binary market, right? Military and also civilian. What I'm going to be looking for this, it's breaking dynamic reactor, making a little range downwards, and then that's when I'm going to be trying to take the breakout as we go above dynamic reactor. If we see de-escalation, if we see escalation, I'm going to be buying and holding a little bit of LMT. Maybe I can give you a little bit more, but we're running out of time. So let's just go for the wrap up of this one. LMT will likely spike significantly once the actual military or defense measures get confirmed, right? So, but if we have de-escalation, holding HWM, sorry, may continue a moderate bullish trend, what we talked about. So this one might be continuing a small bullish trend because of it is not just military, right? And LMT could remain strength in this dip. So remember, if we don't have escalation, if we have de-escalation, I might be getting a little bit trapped in here. But in that case, I might be looking for a put and taking the hit, right? But that's what I'm going to be going for at this point. Other than that, let's take a look at altcoins in here. Let's get started with Fartcoin. Fartcoin was expecting a further move to the upside, but and then a rejection out of where we were in here. So we were actually kind of going high enough for when we have a retracement to hold, right? But that did not happen. Basically, we just kept going downwards. Did I have any entry? No. Where are my entries? Well, at the bottom for longs, right? And at the top for shorts. So easy peasy. It's just time for me to wait. So so far, what I'm going to be doing is drawing a trend line in here. We're breaking that trend line. And if I'm looking for a short, let's bring chunky candles in here in the stage with us. I'm going to be looking for some supports. I will be calling maybe this area soft support, and then off we go to dynamic reactor. And if I'm still below my zero line, most likely I'm going to be taking a short on Filecoin as we have escalation of global conflict, because remember, this is a risk asset, especially Filecoin. So other than that, let's go and do a top analysis on the icons that I really like, which are just the classic ones. Let's get started with Ethereum. Ethereum looking like exactly the same. We did not make it higher than we were expecting, and that's again due to Bitcoin, due to what's going on the global markets, right? But the interesting part is that we are still above the zero line. Remember that yesterday we were looking at that overbought and possible reversal. It just happened faster than I was expecting. We did not hit my alert. So once again, hashtag F Ethereum. Now it's going back to F Ethereum. maybe triple F Ethereum. But as long as I don't lose this trend line that I have in here, I'm not gonna be get to worry or not gonna be looking for a short, because we're still very, very close to my next possible areas of bounce. All right. So remember, we're still within a range, and in a range, we buy low, we sell high, right? We buy low, we sell high. So once again, we buy low and we sell high, right? So far, so good. Waiting time. Going for Litecoin actually is playing out fantastically. I was expecting maybe a little bit of an overshoot, but that overshoot did not play out. Who cares? We are actually rejecting out of the dynamic reactor, which was the main analysis in here. So your opportunity to entry, remember, it was right there, flip of the ribbon at resistance. At this point, we are breaking the previous trend line that we had in here. So breaking it, I think we're going to go lower as I indicated in here, because we also have a support. So it's time for me to add a alert right here on altcoin. So looking for that possible area of bouncing, and then of course looking for that support and flip of the ribbon. And finally, let's go over, I would choose Solana. Let's go over Solana. And then on Solana, I was expecting a further move to the upside before the retracement, because of the concentration of previous areas of resistance. Nonetheless, then this one did take me a little bit by surprise, because I was expecting to have a breakout. Well, then we didn't, but this is not all lost. In fact, out of all of them, I believe Solana, it has the most potential, because we're still above the zero line and we have not yet broken this trend line. If we break this trend line, just like before, looking for areas of entry down here below. So let's add an alerting here, and that's going to be my best possible area of entry. So other than that, let me throw it back to you, Piper. I do have prepared Sui, Ada, and Link if you want me to keep going, or maybe we can do the next round in here.
Yeah, we'll do the next round on those. I'm looking here at news updates. A couple of things that I'm seeing right now on news. X marks the spot. Let's jump over to that. There we go. Let's take a look at this. Buck, this one's for you, man. Looking out for you, Buck, always. You and your mining guru-ness. Bitcoin miner revenue from fees has decreased to its lowest level in over 13 years when measured in Bitcoin. Will this trend of empty blocks and low fees impact miners long term? Let me know your thoughts. And you guys can see here, just absolutely just truncated from some of these spikes, sitting at levels that we haven't seen in, again, 13 years, all the way back here in 2012. So will that cause us to go into capitulation? If you guys want to know how to watch that, is this the one? Nope, this is not the one. This is the one. The Eric Wallen chart, guys. Watch this Caprioli hash rate ribbon from Caprioli Investment here. When we tend to go into that red, you can see the red right there. That is the sell. That's capitulation. And it has typically led to sell-off sessions. We did have a little one here where we came down from this peak right in here, did a little spike up, and then dropped back down to some lower levels there too. So be watching this Caprioli, guys, for some Bitcoin sell-off, and then also some more updates coming in on the front of the war stuff. Where is it at? Just dropped about an hour ago here, and I got to scroll through here and find it real fast. But it was from Meet Kevin. Oh, what do we get here? FOMC meeting tomorrow. Yep, we know about that. Thank you very much. Looks like Iran has recalled all of its medical staff to come back to Iran. Was what the message was. I'm just going to scroll here and find it real fast, but I'm trying to keep you guys up to date. There it is. Reports of Iran immediately calling back all medical staff who may be on vacation right now. All hands on deck for the coming days. So may not be out of the woods on this stuff yet, but again, guys, what we do is we just watch these levels of support, and we just start the buy-in process. Plus, if you have not done your DCA setup yet for this week, we do the DCA and Piper plan in our Discord. If you're a member here on YouTube, $5 a month, you get access to JR's trade setups, Lunar Beach's calls, Buck's calls, OC drops trades in there, and then we also have a live weekly session that we do, and then we do the DCA on all kinds of stuff. But on those, let's go see what we have this week. I don't remember what we put in for Bitcoin. I think it was a 2x. But yeah, let's jump over there and take a look at that, and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. BTC DCA strategy. We have an entry based on risk levels, and then we also have a take profit level. Right now, was at 58.5. I think we're a little bit lower this morning. I think we are definitely are. 2x DCA. Again, best days to DCA. I updated this last week, going into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday compared to today. So if this is to go lower, you will be right in line with the best days to DCA, and pick up your dollar cost average for the week on some of these lower levels. So that is what I'm watching there. Shout out to Baba Yaz. I see him there in the chat. Did I miss anybody in here today? Jesse Gellick, Buck Whiskey Tango Foxtrot there from Lunar Beaches. 102.7. I'm here. Used to be Rock 103, a classic rock station. Now it's a pop or something lame. Yeah. Somebody was talking about 102. Andra, love you, lady. All right, OC, what do you got on those other alts? Let's take a look at those before we head out of here. There's nobody to push to today. I've already checked all the streams. Crypto Coin Mindset. Keith is not going live, and neither is Crypto Princess. So what do you got for us on the rest of those alts? ADA, Chainlink. Is $800 Chainlink coming? That's the question that Buck wants to know. What you got for us?
All right, let's go take a look at a couple of alerts that we had yesterday, and then we go into Chainlink. Nonetheless, I think this is important. Yesterday, we were having an alert set up at 1626. We actually hit it right here. But the important part is that we're having something resembling a flat bottom here. If we get a little bit too exquisite, right? I mean, we are not quite there. It just has slightly tilted depending where you looked at it, but it's pretty flat. It's pretty flat, right? So this is important because whenever you have a flat area like this, and this could, remember what we learned on Trading with OC, we can have triangles, we can have head and shoulders, we can have anything. Your imagination is the limit, right? But the important part in here, it is that we usually break to the flat area. So really important, when we have a flat top triangle, we usually break to the upside, right? And when we have a flat bottom triangle, we usually break to the downside. Again, the goal is not in the possibility of breaking it, but the lines that define that area, right? And right now we are on support, and I just don't see flip of the ribbon just now. Something important is, yes, we're having some bright areas. This could be leading you to believe that we are, or that we could be jumping in, but once again, we are below dynamic reactor. Not only that, we've been constantly below dynamic reactor. I wanted it to see an early flip of the ribbon for a push through, but we are not having that. So be careful with AIXBT. I know we were looking for a long, but I would say that it's time to reconsider. Let's just go and take a look at our indicators. We're below our quantum reactor. We're also basically on support. So here it goes, guys. If you want to take the risk, this is not financial advice, I would actually jump in right now. One single position, my stop loss somewhere around 0.1537, and aiming a little bit low in here to the money flow POC, which sits around 1895. All right. Still, I'm not feeling this, so I'm gonna be calling this possible entry at a 1/2 or 1/4 entry. Other than that, be careful with AXIABT. So let's just add a couple of alerts, both for stop loss and target hit. Sorry for that. Our next area of entry, and this is the one that I'm going to be looking into, is going to be between this area of support right here and this, of course, support line. Other than that, I don't see anything else. Well, we do have another one right where we are now, but we don't have any more a order block. But we do have a loud order block to the upside. Yes, it is magnetic, but only if we are able to bounce out of where we are right now. So once again, if you want to take that risk, I will do it with caution in mind. Let's go and take a look at what was it? What's the one that Buck wants to see? Link?
Yep, Link, bro. He wants to see the $800 Link.
$1,100 link. All right, so let's take a look at link. Link basically moving as we were expecting it, bounce out of the topping here, going into support. So this is what we were expecting. We are right on track with that. Something that I want to go over, it is the money flow that we see here. This money flow, it's very, very red at this point. I'm not seeing anything changing at this point. It's not above, here it is, it's not above our zero line, and this is your zero line. So yes, we do have clipping. Maybe can we front run the flip of the ribbon? Could be same analysis as before. Areas of entries, link position, entry position somewhere around, I'm going to be calling out 1294. Why? I'm trying to eyeball the average between the previous weekly low, the support that I have, the trend line that we have, and of course this area of rejection. My stop loss is going to be right there. Give myself a little bit of a wiggle room, not too much, because we could easily go all the way down here and bounce back up. If this is the case, you have two possibilities. One is going to be this one, and then maybe wait for a stopped out going farther down and re-enter. Or you can go instead, you stop loss, like if your last entry is going to be here, you aim just slightly bit lower, and we go for one half of an entry and another half of an entry right here. So another half right there. I think this is going to be a good one. So my alerts already there, and this one is going to be right here on my next entry. I think the link is not doing that bad. So I'm going to go for this double entry on link, half and half, and I'm going to be going for, just so you know, between a 5x and a 10x. I'm still going to be decide which one's going to be as we get closer to this area. Why? Because if I see that we start turning around in here, or if I see a tip of the money flow, I may be jumping with a higher leverage. But if I see piercing through, I will be jumping with a smaller leverage. So this is going to be a last minute decision. So be careful once again. Guys, I know this is bearish, but when everything is dumping, that's when I start looking and testing the waters for a possible reversal. Why? Because this is how market makers play it, right? Something important to note is that if Bitcoin drops, it's going to pull all and every single altcoin with it. So be careful out there.
Yep, absolutely. If you guys want to get in on these trades, guys, don't forget we do have a new campaign going right now, going on through from the 13th through July 3rd on Blowfin. No KYC. You don't have to worry about that. You can get all these deposits you see on the screen right there off of these aggregate trade volumes, guys. Go check it out. Link down below in the description. And yeah, that's what we got today, guys. So if you guys want to support the show, check out the link. Trade with us, and you can get on these trades. And then for all of you guys that were asking about the puppy, there you go. There you go. Gypsy Love today. She's zooming out. That she's in the nethers. Gypsy, that's you right there on screen. There you go. Appreciate everybody today that has joined us here. We will be back here tomorrow morning. Shout out to Crypto Princess. Shout out to CryptoCoin Mindset. Appreciate all you guys. But we will be back here tomorrow morning with Gypsy and OC doing some trading with the puppy. And we'll be breaking down the news for you guys. Don't forget FOMC tomorrow. Watch for the volatility. Watch all those levels today that you guys saw. And we will absolutely be letting you know in our Discord and on X if there's anything that comes up that you guys need to know. Watch OC live today. Hopefully he's live today. Are you feeling better, OC? I hope you are.
Much better.
He'll be doing trade with OC, live with OC, and then this evening, markets after dark tomorrow morning. Good morning crypto with BC Port Corp, and we will be back here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Smash that like on the way out. Share this with a friend if you got anything out of it, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Trade safe, and as always, use some risk management. Later, guys.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall off. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti, yo. Crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you will part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone.
Pump those numbers up,
We'll
those are rookie
find a
numbers
way
in the
to keep
track.
going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low.
London shit
Sound off.
to get with them. The ZTS rhythm. Rip it. Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean?
You can't handle the truth.
That was awesome, dude.